Welcome
Well,
me.
well, well. It's you again.
Yeah, it's me again, and welcome to. If you don't agree, you're wrong, and that's
Yes,
just the way it is. If you don't agree, you're
that
wrong.
is correct. Yes.
I am, of course, VHS Jason, and of course, next to me is Jason Roy Gaston, who is keeping me guys so busy watching TV, and I appreciate everything about it. So
And you
that's just.
should. It's a great pastime that more children should be taking part in.
I agree. I agree. All right, and we should not muck around. But before
Nope.
we get started, guys, if you do kind of like what we do, and we don't forget, do the right things. There we go. There's our like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, do all that. Sorry, I've just come back from holiday, guys. So I'm a bit sketchy here. I'm a bit worn out. But please do that because it's a great show and we want your support. And let's not muck around, Jason. Let's get cracking into the first one here.
This is a no mucking zone. Let's do it.
No mucking zone. Lower decks.
Oh, Lower Decks!
Lower decks. Yeah. Now, maybe I was a bit excited about saying that because really, I've got some things to say about it, Jason. I'm going to start this week because I want to give you my opinion
Please,
on
go ahead.
this week's Lower Decks. Not impressed. Not super thrilled with this episode. I thought the previous week's was really great. This was a bit of a letdown. And why am I let down? Because I felt the show had set up certain things which it didn't deliver, not only in plot but in character. And I'm looking straight at Peanut Hamper. That's my biggest bugbear with this episode is Peanut Hamper. I thought they were setting her up to be a great villain, but she basically gets rehabilitated. Agamus, yeah, again, just a real letdown. Based because I bought into a theory, a theory by a popular TikToker, don't know who, stating that they thought that Agamus was hooking up with Peanut Hamper and a giant plot to destroy their ships, which is also the big thing that let me down on this one, was the fact that they're not destroyed, they're stolen. I don't like that. I thought you just basically stripped away the drama that they had been setting up in that one moment. It felt like stakes were high, and that has now been removed. The Badgie situation, yeah, the Badgie stuff works. I mean, who doesn't love Gucci? Like, and the fact that they go with even the pun of the name, you know, because Badgie means not bad G, but, you know, the badge. And to be able to go, what are we going to call the good version? Oh, Gucci. I don't know. It's the small things I love. Yeah, so I really felt disappointed with this. This is probably one of my least favourite episodes of the season. But again, this show's a high watermark in my opinion. So even this not being my favourite, it's still had a decent quality, this show. And yeah, I just wish they had gone in a different direction. So I'm giving it the bear. Yep, that poor little bear of apathy.
Where is he?
Where is he? Here
Where
he
is
is. He took his time. Sorry. He was just like, he was let down too with this episode. What can I say?
I love this little guy so much. I wish I could watch more average television just to see him more.
It makes you want to, doesn't it?
Yes.
That's all right. That's the CW. You can always do that.
I don't think there is a CW anymore, is there?
No, isn't there? No, they completely got rid of it.
I don't know. I don't watch network TV anymore. I stream everything because it's 2023.
Yes, exactly. Exactly, Jace. I've had my say. You ready to have your say?
Yes, I want to have my say right now.
Here, let's go now.
Worst episode of Lower Decks ever. That's my take. It's the worst episode. Not only because it did just completely take the wind out of the sails of what I thought was a really great buildup throughout this entire season, but it was just not good. I don't think I laughed at any of the gags, and to be perfectly honest, I'm over Peanut Hamper. If we never see Peanut Hamper again, I will be very happy. If we never see Badgie or Goodgie again, I will be very happy. Agamus can come back because he's Jeffrey Combs. Maybe he gets dumped and he wants revenge. I'm good with that. Jeffrey Combs is always welcome back to Star Trek, but it better be a damn good, better episode. I was just let down by everything in this episode. The only real consistent funny thing was the interplay between Mariner and Rutherford whenever they went to the ship and Rutherford was all like, well, I was just coming over to sacrifice myself. What? You don't have a plan? I thought that was really funny. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I wish I had more to say, but I'm gonna do a little speculation because I got 45 seconds to do it. So the ships are being stolen. It's the damn Packlets again. It's the stinking Packlets. I will bet my entire fortune, all $33 of it, that the Packlets are coming back, and I am going to be angry. I'm going to be angry unless they've been assimilated and now they're Borg Packlets. That would be kind of funny. You know, your technological and biological service will come to us. We will make us go. That would be kind of good. But yeah, I'm disappointed. This is the first time I've been disappointed in Lower Decks, to be honest. This was just a huge misstep. So I'm going to give it a thumbs down. And I hate that I'm doing it because I love this show, but I just did not like anything they did in this episode.
Look, yeah, it was a real... Because the week before was so great, right? But what were they thinking, man? What were they thinking in doing a setup like that? And if you're right about the Packlets, then they've got a bigger problem here because they're repeating themselves. Maybe it was a gag early on. Maybe it was part of the pitch of the show. And by the way, the whole series villains, the big bad villains, are the Packlets. And I could see the funny conversation about that, but the reality of actually doing that, Jace, I just don't know. I think it's such a giant universe with just millions of species.
Yeah, it's just something stealing things. It's just screaming Packlets. I could be wrong. It has been known to happen every single time I speculate.
Well, I'm hoping you are.
Which is why I'm speculating about the Packlets, because I don't want it to be real. I'm still kind of holding out hope that it's the butt bugs.
That now. Because, I'm all aboard with butt bugs. I'm a big fan of butt bugs.
You want to talk about a species that boldly goes where very few men have gone before. I'm all for, having the butt bugs around.
And the other thing is they're a fantastic villain that was never utilized properly anyway. And they have so much they could do with that. So listen to us, Paramount. We know what we're talking about.
The ship is butt bugs. They're coming to probe the heck out of the Federation.
Oh.
They're gonna explore the wormhole, if you know what I mean.
Well, we're moving on now to
gonna go into your Gamma Quadrant.
Is it Gen V? We are looking
Gen V.
Gen V. All right. Yeah.
I love whenever you put the titles up because that gives me a second to put my finger in my nose and scratch the itch. It's the title's up.
I'll remember that. I'll keep it up longer. All right.
Please do. I'll be sitting there. Hold on. It's coming now.
If it's on any longer than 20 seconds, guys, he's really digging in.
Yeah.
It's one right up the top of the nostril.
I've got my whole fist up there like a butt bug.
Hey, before we do get into Gen V, let's have a look at a couple of the comments here.
If we must.
We must. First thing, let's say hello to the sci-fi queen herself. Nita, how are you? Lovely
Always
to see
a pleasure
you.
to hear from the great Nita. Hello.
Welcome to Fairy Penwings.
Is that a new one?
I think it's a new one. Good afternoon,
new
boys.
One. Hello, noob.
Okay. And now sci-fi Nita's turned around. I'm with Texas Jason. So done with Peanut Hamper too.
Yeah, the joke is done. It's done.
They killed the joke. That's a joke killer, that plot line. Like, rehab's when you've got nothing else to do with that character. You throw him into rehab. And
it would have been better if Agamus never found her.
Yeah.
If she just hit it and quit it and she was gone. And then Agamus can just fester at CBS headquarters with the evil eyes and everything. Just so much missed opportunity.
All right, let's go back to Gen V.
Jason angry.
My nose. There you go.
Oh, wow, that's impressive too. That's a two-finger deal.
That was pretty good. Okay, let's. You're going to be talking about the latest episode first this time, Jason, which I believe was Welcome to the Monster Club. So, are you ready to have a crack?
I'm ready to have a crack.
Let's do it.
Okay, so I have been very hard on this series so far. I actually really liked this episode. This elevated itself. Last week, for example, I talked about a scene with something popping like a pimple that I said, well, that's just shock value. It's not contributing anything to the plot. Well, bad Jason, it contributed something to the plot. contributed something to this episode. I just love the idea of a psychic whodunit. Who done erased their memories? Who done did all this? I feel like the characters are working together quite a bit. There was quite a few shoes that dropped here, and I finally got the sense that something was happening, which has been my biggest complaint against this show, is that it has been set up and endless setup, and let's set up some more stuff today. Stuff is going off, and I liked it. And I liked how the younger brother character, which I cannot remember his name, was suddenly the one who has to basically rescue everyone else.
Sam.
Yes, Sam. And I think there's a Dean in there. I don't know. But yeah, I enjoyed this episode. I will admit this is like the first one I watched this week, so it's been 7 days, and I don't remember a whole lot about what happened, to be honest. But I do remember that I did like it. I liked the concepts. I liked the whole idea about who did what. And yeah, I feel like the show's finally taking off. And if it continues to disappoint me, it's its own darn fault, and it's no fault of mine. I'm going to give this one a thumbs up. Look at that.
Bloody beauty.
Bloody beauty. Look at that.
Bloody beauty. All right, well, it's my turn.
Wait, is Dazzer a boy or a girl? Because they've got a pouch.
Dazzer could be a girl's name.
Okay,
it's 2023, mate.
It's 2023. Ginger is only a social construct.
Exactly.
You do you.
Exactly. By the way, I don't know, there's been this video going around worldwide this week about a guy having to save his dog in a lake. Have you seen that?
How many times is that going to happen in your weird country?
So there's a kangaroo literally trying to drown a dog.
Yeah, because that's the kangaroo MO is never mess with a kangaroo around water because they will drown you.
But that feels like a very sadistic choice. Like, the kangaroo has claws, could have ripped it apart, attacked it. But no, like a serial killer.
Oh,
the kangaroo wanted to hold it down.
We're gonna go.
I want to see the last bubble.
Now. It's all right.
It's time to sleep, little buddy.
Go to sleep. Keep your eyes open. I want to see your soul leave your body. You ever seen Wolf Creek?
Yes, exactly. All right, I'm going to... What are we talking about, Gen V?
I want the last conscious thought going through your brain to be Peanut Hamper.
And you just see the... Whoa! But, good Aussie style, mate. Beat the shit out of that kangaroo and got the dog back.
Hey, you know what? I would beat up a kangaroo for my dog. One of my dogs.
All right, look.
I would beat him up for that one. Not that one.
All right.
Don't look at me like that. You know what I'm talking about.
All right. Gen V, this was a very good episode. I do love the amnesia aspect. The fact that, we're setting up for everybody, for them to keep waking up in different scenarios. And the show did a really great job in making us think it was that one character. It was very good. And I will say, even though it was the most obvious choice in the end of who did it, I had no idea. It caught me by surprise, even though it had been clearly described that she has those powers. It also had a very beautiful moment at the end where she has to succumb to the fact that she's been deceiving Andre? Is it Andre? Or Rufus? One of the two. I can't remember. I haven't
learned their names yet.
But she gives the memories back to him. And, just that performance of realizing all this stuff now has come back to him was pretty full on. It is a very conspiratorial show for me. It is. You're right. There's a lot of clues and things like that. But you are right. We are in episode 5, which is the half the season break. I don't know. Oh, no, it does continue next week. I do apologise. I thought this was taking a break. But we are halfway through the season. The show's looking, feels like it's setting up to a big banger last half. But who knows? But it is one of the strongest episodes of this season so far in a show that has been trying really hard, but it seems to be obvious at points. You know what I mean? And you brought up about shock value. It's, it's been there. But, no, a very good episode. Like you, I love mysterious episodes that kind of, whodunit type of thing. And they handled it really well. And they used somebody's powers in an interesting way to drive the plot forward. This absolutely Little Miss Daz is back. So definitely well deserved. Yeah, for a show that really, Jace, yeah, it's still on the fence, right?
Most definitely.
Yeah, it's still on the fence, but we're pod committed, and we'll find out whether it's.
I'll be honest. If it had not been for this episode, I probably would have checked out by now.
Yeah,
But I'm very happy because I do love the universe of The Boys. I want this show to be good, and I feel like that now we got the setup out of the way, the very long, prolonged setup. I feel like it's finally going to start telling a good story.
I have a certain demand overall about this series that it may be a bit unfair from my perspective, but I'll be very disappointed at the end of this series if this doesn't directly tie in or add value to the next season of The Boys. Because then I'll think, what was the point?
Yeah, otherwise it'll just be, Once Upon a Time in Wonderland.
Yeah.
Everybody at home is going, Once Upon a Time in what? I was a Once Upon a Time fan, and you know what? Your criticisms don't affect me. Because if I'm brave enough to admit that on streaming, I ain't got no fear of nobody.
Nah, exactly. All right, Jace, let's move on to something a bit more, not supernatural. I suppose there's a bit of magic in it. In fact, there's a lot of magic in it. And we're going to be talking about Loki Season 2, Jason, Episode 2. Ooh, here's a bit of magic.
Yeah, she was attacking my leg, and every time I reached down to grab her, she'd duck down.
So, Battlecat, how do you think we're going so far on the show? Don't need to say anything. Your face says it all. Not
I
impressed.
agree.
Meanwhile, before we get to the Loki Season 2, let's have a look and see if we've got some more comments here. Here we go. Yeah, kangaroos messing with the dogs is why we have dingoes.
It's an arms race.
It's an arms race. But I must admit, man, that was pretty... you've got to have a bit of respect, See, I don't know if here in Australia why we're not just literally hiring kangaroos as bouncers. Yeah, you're gonna get them out of the nightclubs. Yeah. Why not? In fact, I have a high concept here. We're going to remake Roadhouse purely with kangaroos. There you go.
There would be very little difference.
Very
little difference.
Except I want to see the scene when one kangaroo goes the other and rips his throat out.
That would be amazing. Or, whenever the Patrick Swayze kangaroo holds the bad guy under one, going, go to sleep. It's all right. I'll be here. I'll take care of your family.
Nita has a different perspective on this. She says that, hey, don't badmouth the kangaroo. We don't know what that dog did. That is a fair point.
Friendly. New friend. Oh, water, bath. Blub, 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 blub.
Fairy Penwing says not Rue's fault. Wow, here we go. We are definitely.
Is there an extended cut to this video I haven't seen yet? I mean, does the dog sling racial slurs at him or something? I don't know.
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
You like your kind around here. Bark, 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 bark.
All right. Okay, Gen V. I want to know, what does the school have on her to get her to do this to her friends? Excellent question.
That is a good
excellent question because, we don't actually get that explained in that episode of, why she's really doing it and what they have on her. But it'll be something pretty
maybe it's her scholarship.
Show.
Yeah. You want your scholarship, erase your friends' memories. Okay. You don't even know why. No, I just want my scholarship.
She's not on the fence. She's on one side of the grass. She loves it. She says it's a good show.
Awesome. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah. Aaron just wants to recognize Battlefloof, who is our harshest critic.
She's already gone. Yeah.
Harshest critic.
Well, in our defense, Battlecat doesn't hate us because of anything we've done wrong. Battlecat hates us because she's a cat.
Yeah. I know. I have 3 who I came back from being away for 4 days away, and they didn't even care or even know, just out of my way.
This morning, this afternoon, I was sitting in the living room watching a scary movie for my 31 spooky movies of Halloween segments that I'm doing on YouTube. Check them out. It's really good. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, I just hear a crash, and Battlecat runs through with my mouse attached to her, and she slings it up against the wall. I come in here, and my brand new ring lights are in the floor, and she's just completely trashed the place. And I'm just like, she's looking at me like, "You're welcome," and then she walks off. Cats are
Wrong
jerks.
mouse. Battle
Cats are
cats. I appreciate, but that's not the type of mouse that he wants you to catch.
I don't have mice.
You don't, because you have cats.
Yes, I have cats. I don't have mice. I barely have dogs anymore. I had 4 dogs. Now I'm down to 2. I don't know what they're doing to them.
All right, let's get the show back on track. We're now going to be talking about, like I said, Loki Season 2, Episode 2.
Yes.
It is my turn, I believe. So let's have a talk, Jace. What I thought of Loki Season 2, Episode 2. Really digging the direction of where they're going with Loki. This felt very different from the first episode, and I appreciate it a lot. It's one of those episodes where, like, because we're watching so much content, when it started, I was like, hang on, have I missed an episode here? But that was intentional. Hunter X5, I'm really digging that, pretending he's a Hollywood film star called Brad Wolf. I absolutely love it. I love the time setting. He actually has been a real discovery along with Ki Kwan, who was back again. So happy to see it looks like this character is an integral character throughout the series and not just a one-off. So I am thrilled about that. I'm also loving where it's going. I love the fact that when they went and met Sylvia, that, they're dealing with this stuff in a McDonald's car park. And there's something deliciously funny about that. I thought that's what they're doing. They're sorting themselves into that round. But yeah, I mean, like, it's still really too early to get into the plot details of what this overall means, but it is becoming, to me, one of the most anticipated weekly shows, because these first 2 episodes, wildly different, still wonderful. I don't know. It is something about, I think Marvel Studios really seem to have the right writers and executive producers on this one, because first 2 episodes have been really great, where I didn't think it was. I really was not looking forward to this show, but in 2 weeks, they've turned it around to me going, it's my weekly anticipated. Absolutely adored this episode. Strange, wonderful, funny, dramatic. It's a win-win-win. Well, I'm sorry, but little Miss Dazza, she's getting a workout today, because that was really good. All right, mate. You ready?
I am ready. Let's talk about this. Okay, so completely agree with everything you said. Completely different direction from the first episode, but still incredibly entertaining. I loved everything about this episode. I love that it's almost like a police procedural through space and time. I love the fact that they brought Sylvie back in so soon, because I kind of got the vibes that she was going to be out of the show for a while with the last episode. But nope, she's back. Again, it's funny. McDonald's parking lot. And the fact that this episode started out kind of lighthearted and carefree and eventually devolved into quite a bit of horrific genocide was ballsy. Because that is what we watched. We watched trillions and trillions of people get killed in front of our eyes in a attack that was successful. I thought that they were going to stop it at the last minute, or they were going to find some way to reverse it. But no, they did the thing and went in a direction I was not expecting them to. And they let it be every bit as heavy and impactful as it should have been, which brought an extra bit of gravity to the episode. I did not really care for the first season of Loki, to be honest. This year, it's like they've got a brand new plan. They have a brand new approach to it, and it's working. Everything they're doing is working. I love Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson's performances together. They have great chemistry, and it's just great seeing Owen Wilson in anything again. I watched him in The Haunted Mansion yesterday. Terrible movie, but he was amazing in every scene he was in. I'm giving it a thumbs up, and I love this show. Low key, I look forward to it every week.
You're just so happy you got to say that pun, aren't you?
I am. I've been workshopping it all week.
Dude, you're right. The branching scene, really impactful and really powerful. And yeah, a real shock, because it doesn't feel Marvel Studios. Like, you know what I mean? Like, especially in the television space. But they really made it work. And the music, everything was really heavy in that scene. No jokes, no nothing. It also blew me away that moment too, because in the first episode, we're just seeing them work through the doorways, and we don't know why. And they're all just going for that doorway. Now we know that they were all going to the branches to kind of eliminate it. It was, wonderful. But yeah, it was very Law and Order the first half, which I dug as well. And in the fact that in the way Loki dresses, he's dressing like a cop.
Oh yeah, and oh my gosh, the shadow scene. That was like classic evil Loki right there. That's what I really like, is that they're playing with him being, I'm not a nice person. And I dig that. I dig that.
You got to remember, less than a year ago, about a year ago, he had tried to take over planet Earth. He had put his father into a coma a couple of years before that. He was not a nice guy. So, for him going back to that. But I love that effect. I'm like, classic.
So great.
Trickster Loki.
The horns and everything.
Oh, the scene with the cube. Where they capture Brad Wolf with that machine.
Yeah. That was great.
Really intense as well. Very cool. Great show. All right, let's move it on, Jace. We are now talking about a show that I've recently had to jump on into, but I'm so far been delighted. But what do I think about this week's? And that is Chucky. Season 3. Yeah. And we're at already, I do believe, at episode 2 already. So So I believe you're going to be first this time, mate, to talk about what your thoughts were of the second episode.
I was going to get my Chucky doll and bring it in here, but I forgot it. It's in the living room. That's okay.
In the living room right now. I could hear the scurrying little feet around the house.
He knows not to come in here. He knows I got a great football kick.
Well, I hope you put away the kitchen knives. That's all I'm saying. All right, let's have a crack. Tell me what you thought of the second episode of Chucky.
Okay, so second episode of Chucky. I still dig this show, and it's for one singular reason. You never know where it's going to go next. You can never predict the plot of this show. And this week is no different. What's Chucky doing in the White House? I have absolutely no idea. Why is he doing this stuff in the White House? I have absolutely no idea. This episode was wonderful. We were talking earlier. It has an amazing kill in it with super dark, pitches black humor. And I also kind of hate the show right now because they, spoiler alert, they took a character that I really liked and they just cacked her right on screen, and it was just senseless and brutal, and it was just Chucky saying, they really need to lose another parent figure. And it's just cruel, and even though it upset me because I really like this character, it's on brand for the show because the show it's Chucky. And I said last week, that's one thing I also like about the show is we got our core 3 characters, but honestly, any one of them could be murdered at any time, and I would not be surprised. I would just go, oh, okay. The other big thing that I really kind of thought was funny was the two. I can never remember the names of these characters. I have fog brain, but the two gay characters trying and failing to consummate their relationship, I thought was hysterical, especially whenever their surrogate mom set them down for the talk. I was busting up laughing the entire time. This show is fantastic. This show is amazing. This show has no business being this good. So I'm going to pay tribute to the show right now with another famous serial killer. There we go. A thumbs up.
Brilliant. All right, I'm going to let you know what I thought of it. I really dug the second episode, Jace, and I know you've said you turn around, I don't know what Chucky's doing in the White House. It's simple. He's going to become president. He wants to become president of the United States. That's my theory, because he's... Oh, we're back. Thankfully. I'm still going. We cut out there for a second. No, he's going to become president, and it's amazing. And what a great setup. I almost mocked this last week, Jason, with the idea that this would be a silly kind of concept. But think about it. It's brilliant. You're in the White House, in a contained space that's protected. And then you bring in that investigator as well, who's going to help hush up the kills. It's great. It's turning into a Chucky version of Agatha Christie novel in some way. And I think the kills are just great, and they're ballsy, and they're violent. You know, and almost decapitation was just a spectacularly horrific kill that would be worthy of any top-notch horror film, theatrical film. It's a show that, wow. Like, you know, trying to sell this to people, I feel like you've got to go, now hang on a second, before you go any further, Chucky, you've got to check it out. But, yeah, this is Chucky to me firing this whole series, but this episode also reflects that this series is firing on all cylinders. Don Mancini is doing a terrific job with this series so far. I'm into the characters. Yeah, I don't think anyone's safe. Anyone is safe in this show, and that just creates great suspense. Excellent show, Chucky. Well, Little Miss Dazza, you're back again, because it is horrific.
Yeah, I really think that the only true constant, the only thing that we can predict, is that something horrible is going to happen to Devon Sawa this season.
Yeah.
He's like Kenny. He's the Kenny of the Chucky universe.
If you've got two guys who are in love and they're really trying to build their love for each other and start this relationship, it kind of says one of them's going to die.
I will be very, very disappointed for as much as this show has done for diversity if they fall victim to the kill your gays trope. I will be so disappointed. I will be angry at them.
My only thing with that is I don't think it would matter even if... I can see how that could come across. But it's a long tradition in all horror films. People are doing it, they're dying.
Yeah, but come on.
But I would think in this, you've got that extra complexity today to that. Yeah, and you're right. Is the fact that they've gone... they've just... What I always hope with diversity is they just don't go, hey, we're being diverse, look at us. They just integrally make it part of the story, which they have done here very well.
Yeah, and I like how they used it to kind of make a personal relationship between Jake and Chucky in the first season.
Yeah.
You know, as Chucky says, I have a queer kid. Yeah. And I was just like, hey, okay, there we go.
Yeah. The one kind of good thing about Chucky is he is... pro-diversity. Hey, yeah, that's about it. He doesn't care who he kills.
Wouldn't that be kind of funny if that's what undoes Chucky at the end of the series? Is like he's getting ready to kill Jake or his boyfriend. I can never remember his boyfriend's name. But come on, I'm going to kill you. Wait, is this going to make me come off as homophobic? And then they use that chance to kick him through a window or something.
Well, it might actually save them. They may use that relationship to actually save him because it reminds him of his son.
Maybe so.
Having a queer kid, and he's like, well, no, I don't want to do that. So, but either way, let's have a look at some of the comments so they keep kind of coming through. Let's have a look. Here we go. Sorry. Doesn't all negotiations happen at McDonald's car park lot?
I think they usually involve illegal pharmaceuticals, but yes.
Usually. But yeah, deals are being made, definitely, for sure. Roos and Emu are coat of arms because they don't walk backwards.
Oh.
There you go.
Interesting.
That's it. Always moving forward, mate. I'm enjoying Loki. I just think this past episode was slower than what I expected.
It was definitely a change of pace, I will admit.
Yeah, but I loved it because of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I loved it because of that, yeah. The Chucky puppet is now on display at Center for Puppetry Arts in Atlanta, Chase. Get on a plane.
They'd better be keeping an eye on that damn thing. That's all I can say.
Well, look, I'd love to go over and see it, but it would cost us $75,000 for a flight at the moment. So.
I may be in the Georgia area around Christmas time for a thing that I'm working on, so maybe I may have to go give Chuck a little visit.
Maybe. All right, and the last one here is I still haven't had time to start watching Chucky at all, but it's on my master. Well, you've got to get on it.
Short
gotta
seasons.
get on it.
Short seasons. Usually the
Yeah.
short seasons are annoying, but in this case for binging, it's perfect.
All right. Now, geez, I think I'm going to use this segue. Talking about diversity, we're moving on to our next show. Our flag means death.
Oh, yes.
Which, yeah. If you haven't watched last week, go back.
I have never read the tagline on that picture, but it says,
go back
prepare
to
to have your ship wrecked. I'm sorry, that's funny on so many levels right there.
It is. So this week we're talking about episode 3, because episode 4 is not up. Is that correct? You said on your side? Or have you seen both episodes?
I saw both episodes, yeah.
Great. Well, we can talk about both episodes.
Excellent. Let's do that.
And I do believe it's my turn to talk about them. And let's have a crack. Let's talk about this. This is so beautiful, this show. Beautifully written, beautifully performed, beautiful comedy. What makes this show so great? And I feel like this whole show, this entire show what we're doing is just a lot of love today, but this deserves the love because how it's written, how they handle relationships, trauma, getting to, lots of things, find yourself, all that. Episode 3, really dealing with the Chinese Empire as such, dealing with the Queen and all that. Really great episode and a real fun tie-up to that. But I really want to talk more about episode 4 because episode 4 for me was delightful. It was great to see Mimi back, Minnie Driver, who was wonderful in the episode playing part of that couple when they go to the house. And it was just so well done. And just to see Taika, I think people underappreciate how good an actor that guy is because I think his performance in the show really shows his strengths because he's been able to handle the emotional side, the anger side, the sweet side, because these characters are quite complex. They're not one note. They're not, stereotypes. They're actually well fleshed out individual characters. And it's not just the 2 main leads. It's the supporting cast as well that gets a lot of love. Favorite pirate show since I saw One Piece. No, it's just, I think I said it last week. I'm just stunned that 2 of the greatest shows I've seen this year are both about pirates. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's beautiful. Look, I might as well just leave it up we should have just left this up for the whole last half an hour, but there you go. I'm loving it.
Okay.
You ready to have a crack?
I'm ready to talk about it.
Let's do it.
Okay, so I'm just gonna pretty much echo what you said. This show's amazing. It's beautiful. It's well written. It's well acted. It looks spectacular, and it deals with everything you would not expect a pirate comedy to deal with: trauma, love, loss, cowardice, bravery in more ways than just swinging a sword. There is just this lovely beauty to everything. Mr. Buttons, for example, whenever he was giving his speech at the end of that one episode before he was getting ready to transmogrify into a bird, I just thought, wow, I kind of hope that he flies away now. I wasn't expecting him to. I was kind of expecting him to go, oh shit, doesn't work. I was expecting that, but no, he flies away like a bird, and I thought, oh, that's lovely. Now, if Buttons doesn't show back up again, I'm going to be very upset because I really liked his character and I like the actor. But if he doesn't show up again, I will not be surprised because this show is kind of like it's watching people go in and out of your life like ships in the night, I suppose. And if this is indeed the last we see of Mr. Buttons, then I wish him clear skies ahead. But yeah, the crazy couple who kept trying to kill each other, I thought was hilarious. Taika Waititi is great. Rhys Davies is great. And I just love that. I honestly don't know why more insecure people aren't protesting this show, to be perfectly honest. I mean, the 2 biggest relationships are gay relationships, and then we have a non-binary character, and it's all set on a pirate ship, and nobody cares. It's just everybody gets along, unless Blackbeard's trying to kill everyone because he's depressed. So yeah, there we go. I think the show's spectacular.
I'm so glad
you told me to start watching the show because it's great.
It is, and you're so right. It's again kind of like what I said about my favorite type of storytelling when handling diversity is to my preference is to not make a big deal about it and just go, this is the story of the two characters, and they do it so well in this show because to me it's a show about love, and I understand from a certain community's perspective it's really important. For me, I recognize it's important, and I appreciate the fact they're not trying to shove it down our throats by, again, look at us, how diverse we are, by just making interesting characters that we would come across these type of personalities in our real life. And it very much is a mirror to almost like the ideal of how we would like the world to treat people in regards to diversity. They're doing it in a pirate ship 500 years ago.
It kind of reminds me of Teen Wolf in a way. Back when the show was good, which seems like millions of years ago. I remember watching or reading an interview one time with one of the showrunners, and he said basically the show takes place in an alternate universe where nobody cares if you're queer or not.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like, I feel like almost like Our Flag Means Death and Teen Wolf are taking place in the same universe, is that, queer people are there. Who cares?
Exactly.
Okay, so this guy's in love with this guy. Who cares? They're a great couple. I love that. And like you said, it's not shoved in your face. It just seems like a natural progression.
It's a natural thing, is what would happen in real life. Like,
exactly.
So...
There were not a lot of women on pirate ships, and there was some buggery going on.
Absolutely, there was.
And you know those guys caught feelings. They caught feelings.
Absolutely. No, brilliant show. All right, Jace.
They're getting their timbers shivered, if you know what I mean.
Now, Jace, we're moving on to our next segment now.
Are
I'm going to let that cheap joke slide over there.
I think that's best. Yes.
And, of course, we're talking about our segment, which is Sudden. All right, here we are at Sudden Death.
I say it every week, but I love how overproduced this show is. It's just amazing.
Over the top. Subtlety isn't in our byline, that's for sure. All right, now we're talking about, this is interesting because we're not going to be doing a whole week to week on this one. This one's only being judged for the whole season on its own. And I'm talking about Disney Plus has just recently dropped, the TV series of Goosebumps, which wasn't on my radar at all. At all.
What are you talking about? You're the one who's like, we're going to watch Goosebumps.
Well, because Disney Plus just plastered it all over my homepage, and I'm like, I think Jace likes Goosebumps. So.
You're going to watch Goosebumps whether you like it or not.
And yeah, so there was 5 episodes, very short season. 5 episodes, but
is the season over? I thought that there was more episodes coming.
I hope so.
I guess we'll find out.
Okay, well, you know what? Let's bring that clock back. Jace, are you ready to have a crack and talk about what your thoughts were on Goosebumps?
Absolutely, I'm ready.
Let's go now.
So on my 2023 bingo card, a young adult inspired, mature reboot of Goosebumps was not there. But I gotta say, I'm kind of digging it, and I'm not a fan of Goosebumps. I grew up too late to get into Goosebumps. I thought the show was kind of corny. I never read any of the books. Watched the movie. I thought the movie was fine. But I'm kind of enjoying this series. It's kind of like this weird supernatural X-Files for young adults, and I'm digging the overall story. I'll be perfectly honest. The first episode, I was just kind of like, haunted camera. I don't know about that. But then whenever I saw where all the other episodes were going, how they all kind of branch off from this party in the first episode, I thought, okay, you know what? This is clever. I like this. I like where it's going. Now, they all haven't been winners. I have to admit, the one with the guy who was being held by all of his clones after he got out of the time loop, I honestly thought that was silly, the way they were popping like zits. I didn't really care for that, because to me, it just seemed so tonally different from all the other ones. But I dig the show. I dig seeing Justin Long in a quasi villainous role because he's always been like such a nice guy in every show he's in. I'm digging that. I like the cast. I like the characters, and I mean it's more than obvious by this point. I think they finally said the name. It's more than obvious that Slappy is on his way. I'm not into Goosebumps. Even I know who Slappy is. And I'm digging how they're setting that up too, because they're setting him up as this big bad they're going to have to deal with later. So Disney, hey, good job! You took a property I didn't care about, and you've made it a show I want to see now. So I'm gonna giving you the Dazza thumbs up, the non-binary Dazza thumbs up.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, okay, let's have a talk about it. Look, I really can I just say before I start my full review, that episode, The Cuckoo Clock of Doom, great first 20 minutes. They killed it when all the clones popped up. Yeah, but I love the idea of that, where he kept trying to escape the house. It's been quite a lot stronger than I would have thought. To me, I love a good universe building kind of scenario. And the fact that you're right, they're keeping this in-house. Every story is kind of interconnected. I really like that. However, like you, Jason, didn't grow up a fan of them, but I did spend a lot of money on those books because my kids loved them. And
my kids are illiterate.
Yeah. Well, just have better taste, maybe. Well, the kids kind of loved it. I'd be interested to see what my kids thought of them. Thought of the show, but I think it's a well-made show. I think it's nice to see a horror that's kind of family-friendly horror. I don't know how young you could be to watch it, but I kind of appreciating that. But yeah, I would say it would have been a show normally I just would have gone, meh, what's the first episode and moving on. But I'm glad I've invested into this time, into this 5 parts so far. There must be more coming down the pipeline. Yeah, quite good. Favourite episode is probably Go Eat Worms. I kind of really dug, which was the 4th episode I really kind of enjoyed. But yeah, that's where I see it. It's a non-binary Dazza. You're back again. Great job. Excellent job. Good show. Now, Jace, before we go into our next one, I don't have the wallpaper for this. For some reason, finding imagery on this particular thing that you asked me to watch was very difficult. And in fact, trying to even find the episode on Disney Plus, well, this little segment on Disney Plus was... And what we're talking about, something called Once Upon a Time.
Once Upon a Studio.
Sorry, Once Upon a Studio.
Stooge.
Once Upon a Studio, which is a 12-minute, well, actually really 8 minutes, 4 minutes of credits, is an 8-minute tribute to Disney film animation. And you know what? We're going to talk about this without the clock, because I think both of us, because I don't know if I think we're both going to say the exact same thing on this one, so we'll move away from the clock on this and just have a general discussion. You'd contacted me a few days ago and said, hey, you got to watch this. All right, and I'm like, Disney promotion. Great. Let's the mouse talk about how good the mouse is. That's what I really feel like watching. But man, like, I'll let you spit it out, but what were your thoughts after watching this?
So I watched this, and I'll be honest, I got misty-eyed watching this several times.
I got more than misty-eyed.
Yeah, they really know how to pull your heartstrings, and I got to give credit to Schaefer Ellis, because I've been trying to figure out a way to put this for a couple of days, and I think in the video that Schaefer Ellis put out today, he said it best. He said, you can hate on corporate Disney all you want, but this is not a celebration of corporate Disney. This is a celebration of Disney creative. If it was a celebration of corporate Disney, we would have had Pixar and Star Wars and Marvel in there. But no, this was a celebration of Disney animation. And
that's great.
I have watched this thing 5 or 6 times, just picking out all the characters. First of all, the fact that you see Jim Hawkins from Treasure Planet, you see the little blobby thing from Strange World, you see the characters from the Dark Crystal at one point. Yeah. They're there with everyone else, and they're there because they deserve to be. I think
the Dalmatians watching Black Cauldron.
Oh, they were watching Fantasia. That was
sorry, they're watching Fantasia. Sorry, not Black Cauldron. Sorry.
Yeah, but yeah. Oh my gosh, Robin Williams as the genie. was just...
Isn't there controversy about that over the last couple of days?
There is controversy because supposedly they were requested not to use the outtakes from that because Robin Williams left like hours and hours and hours of outtakes. But apparently they had gotten permission from his estate to use that one line. I don't know. Maybe.
I think it was handled very...
I don't see you moving, so I'm going to assume that I'm still going. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, we're still around. We're technical glitches today. But, yeah, it was handled so well. But this is just a massive Easter egg hunt.
It is. I could watch this thing another 10 times. And
I cried at the end.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah. You know what bit I cried at? I cried at the witch getting goofy up with the camera.
Yeah, the fairy godmother, you mean?
Oh, I'm so awful at
Oh my God.
Fairy, she's still a witch.
No.
Witch!
Honestly, I did not feel emotional at the parts that I think the film wanted me to. Like whenever Mickey stopped in front of Walt Disney's photo and was like, "Hey, it's nice to see you." I was just like,
sweet moment though.
This is a little awkward, but okay. But it was whenever Quasimodo starts singing "When You Wish Upon a Star," I'm like, they're letting Quasimodo sing, and I love that movie.
Here, question for you: like, how many people did they get for this though?
Everyone who is still around, I think they managed to get them. The people who are not with us anymore, they either used outtakes or they used
AI.
They use. I don't think they used AI. I could be wrong, but I think that they used clips from the movies or they had sound alikes. For example, whenever Baloo and Mowgli sing, it sounded like it was Jim Cummings' voice.
Yeah.
Which, that's Winnie the Pooh. And a sweet man. I've met the man before. He's great. I think everybody who's still with us was there. And the old man in the very beginning, by the way, was a Disney animator who actually passed away earlier this year. And the film is dedicated to him. And he worked at Walt Disney for 70 years.
That was him.
Yeah, that was him. They managed to put him into this film, I guess, obviously before he passed, and he never saw the end of it. But he's there with them. And again, it's Disney creative. It's not Disney corporate. Disney corporate, hate on Disney corporate all you want. Disney corporate is evil and it's greedy and it's horrible. But Disney creative is something special. And I really like the fact that this was made to celebrate Disney creative. Because it was great. I'm gonna watch this thing at least 10 more times.
Yeah.
The only ones I did not see were the ones Disney don't want us to see, and you know who that is. Yeah. I'm looking for them. I'm wondering if like Brer Bear will be like poking his head around the tree, and like Goofy kind of goes, "Becky, you get away."
Yeah, like it's.
We're part of this too. No, you weren't. We don't know you.
I think it's going to be a while before we ever see those characters being re-embraced.
I think it's going to be no.
A while. Yeah.
No, I don't think it's ever going to happen. To be honest, you want to know my?
I'm an optimist. I'm hoping we become so evolved in that space that we can look at that with going. It was horrible, horrific, but it's still part of a legacy. It was still part of a time.
I'm kind of with you. I've seen Song of the South, and in my opinion, the animation's great. The live action segments are just horribly boring.
Yeah, they are.
So I think that honestly, I think Disney should. Wouldn't say release it, but like put it on streaming and just have the content warning saying this is the product of another time.
We acknowledge that. Yeah.
But we agree. We believe that art shouldn't be altered, so this is in its unaltered thing. Well, and if you want to watch it, watch it. And if you don't want to watch it, don't watch it.
And I think part of healing too is acknowledgement that these things happen and it was wrong, but also recognize that they've worked very hard and they have to move past that and to evolve like the rest of society. So
that was one good thing about Japan is that they still have Splash Mountain.
Wow. And
I broke down inside Splash Mountain and we're sitting there like, oh, this is what I get. Shouldn't have done this. But yeah, Once Upon a Studio, watch it. It's great. It's something special.
Fantastic. All right, let's move this on, mate. We are back with some old regulars. Now, this is the next three on Sudden Death we're talking about. First one being The Simpsons.
Is that show still on?
35 years later, it's still on, and we are on season 35.
Yeah.
Now, because both of us have discussed that we kind of checked out of the show years ago, it did belong us to come back to sudden death because we bailed and, there was no reason to ever go back, to be honest with you. But you know what? It came back. So, Jace, let us know what you thought of the first 2 episodes of season 35 of The Simpsons.
Okay, so I don't think I've watched The Simpsons in 10 years. It was a long, painful breakup, but I finally was like, okay, I'm over The Simpsons. I don't want to watch it anymore. It's a shadow of what it was. I would watch a couple of clips from the newer episodes, and just hearing Julie Kavner's voice now, she's so tired that she doesn't even sound like Marge anymore. And I know it's not a cheap shot against Julie Kavner. My gosh, she's been doing the show for 35 years. She's not going to sound the same. So I tuned in. There's only 2 episodes available on Hulu right now. The first episode was Homer the Crossing Guard. It's not terrible. It was fine. It was funny. I thought, well, this is better than what I thought. And then I turned to the next episode, which was, I can't remember what it's called, but it's all about Marge having a nightmare.
A mid-childhood night's dream.
There we go. That's what it was called. I was not prepared. I was not prepared. I was actually messaging you saying, "Oh my God, when did The Simpsons get good again? This episode is incredible." And by the end, I was crying. I was like, I am crying at an episode of Modern Simpsons. Why am I crying at an episode of Modern Simpsons? This episode with Marge was just so emotional, so well written, so well done. It was a episode where the cause of Marge's problems is obvious, but the journey to her realizing it and coming to peace with it, both in the dream world and in the real world, was just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Works and even Bart, who's basically just like a caricature of himself now, has just these amazing emotional moments with his mom, and it all builds up to that ending scene that just, it destroys you emotionally, especially if you're a parent. I'm so happy to say I'm giving The Simpsons a thumbs up, and I want to watch it again next week. And I hope that this level of quality continues, because I think that there are more seasons of The Simpsons behind us than there are ahead. And I really do think the show needs to bail out before we start losing cast members that we can't replace. But yeah, if it's going to bail out soon, I hope that it keeps this level of consistent goodness to it, because this was something special.
All right.
I know I went over my 2 minutes.
That's fine, man. It's all right. It's okay. Look, Homer's Crossing isn't the most original plot. I've seen that episode done in different forms on that show over the years. But what I was struck about the first episode is how good the writing was. There was some really great jokes. And because I'd been away for so long, I was like, have I forgotten that this show is actually very cleverly written? But that episode kind of worked, and Homer being Homer, of course, becomes immediately corrupt when coming the school crossing guard, but it was delightful. But yeah, all attention is on what I consider probably an Emmy award-winning episode, because it's that caliber, mid-childhood night's dream. If you're a parent, as we are, it really hits home, this episode, because it is about her coming to a level of acceptance that time is changing, that, her belief in her self-worth determining on her relationship as a children. She has to kind of come to terms with the fact that that's actually not the case, but also come to the terms with the fact that her kids are going to get older, and they're not going to want their need or their mummy. But not an original idea either, but just executed so well. Half dream state, half real world. It is one of those top tier episodes, because you could probably name about 20 episodes of the greatest Simpsons episodes that we could probably, if we spent the time, could go through and easily name. And this, to me, is at that kind of top-tier level of a very memorable Simpsons episode. Like you, Jason, that kind of hooked me in for season 35 now, so I'll be very interested to see how this goes over the next few weeks. Little Miss Non-Binary Dazza, you are busy today. There you go. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Jace, let's move on to the next one. Another show that's been running 22 seasons upon its return has come back, and that is Family Guy.
What an interesting graphic.
Yeah, that's their wallpaper for the current season.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So I'm gonna take a crack and let you know what I think about the Family Guy. Family Guy is Family Guy. It's not much that's changed over the 22 years, except it used to be smarter comedy, and then it devolved into very dumb, kind of obvious comedy. I like these first two episodes. The first episode fertilized Meg. It was good to see a Meg-centric episode, which I kind of liked because she decides to become a surrogate. So you're kind of dealing with teenage pregnancy in this episode to Bruce and Jeffrey. Oh, no. So I kind of like that. The next episode, Supermarket Pete, I didn't mind. And that's where they're going to decide to turn the Bureau into an open plan office, so he gets a job in a supermarket. And obviously it becomes a battle between Lois, who doesn't want Pete in that because she feels like she's the queen of the supermarket. Look, is it as good as some of the great animation we have? No. But it's Family Guy, cheap jokes, cheap story, wrapped up in 22 minutes. I'll probably continue to watch it, but if I didn't watch another episode this season, don't know how much I'd miss. So it is still going to get Little Miss Dazza, but barely. So that's where I leave that one. I didn't even want to give it full 2 minutes. There you go, Jace. Right. You ready to have a chat?
I'm ready. Let's talk Family Guy.
Let's do.
Okay, so yeah, I haven't watched the last few seasons of Family Guy either. I've just kind of noped out of that one as well. Went into this one giving it a fresh chance. I honestly thought that the Meg episode was sweet, despite the fact that Mila Kunis is kind of on a poop list right now. I liked the episode. I thought it was nice. I thought it was sweet. I enjoyed that stupid bit whenever Meg is at the table and they're all having dinner and it's going from holiday to holiday as she's getting more and more pregnant and Peter goes through his meth addiction. I was just like, this should not be funny, but it is. And the ending where Meg doesn't want to hand over the baby, I thought was also expected, but I liked the way it was written. So I thought that this episode, despite the fact it is Family Guy and it's into cheap humor, it was cheap humor with heart. The second episode, the one with the supermarket, it was fine. I laughed at it. I thought it was funny. I liked Lois in her element going through the grocery store, and the fact that they basically throw her out for being a Karen to her own husband, I thought was actually kind of clever. I'm gonna be honest, it's not anywhere near as the caliber as The Simpsons was this week, because like I said, the Marge episode was a masterpiece and the Homer episode was consistently funny. But I will admit, Family Guy kind of won me back on board with these last two episodes.
Wow.
I'm not going to just be chomping at the bit to see new episodes, like I am with Loki or Our Flag Means Death, but I'm interested to see if the quality's up, because it almost seems like these writers have been listening, thinking, everyone says our show sucks now, we should start trying again. And it is. It feels like they've been trying again. So I'm going to be a little bit more gracious than you, and I'm going to give it a pretty strong thumbs up because I think it deserves it.
Wow. There you go. Fantastic. Excellent. Well, that ends our normal programming in the sense we've gone all the shows for the week. So it means we've got to kick into our next segment.
Hit me with that music I like so much, baby.
Let's get into it.
Peter,
okay.
Can you show me where the extra large eggplant is?
It could be doing that. Now, we have a couple of things that we want to recommend to you guys. I have one. Jason has one. Now, Jason's decided this week the world needs to know more about this particular thing, and that is The Adventures of Mark Twain. Well, guess what? I am banking, if you heard that noise, the cat has just knocked him out of the computer. So in saying that, Jason will not be talking about Mark Twain at the moment. So what do you say? I take the stage immediately for now and talk about Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Now, if you're Australian, you would know about this film a lot. It is known very much as one of the great Australian movies, and it's for a good reason. And it's, to be honest with you, it's way ahead of its time in dealing with issues of sexuality and that. But what makes Priscilla, Queen of the Desert so good? Its performances all the way around. And I do believe this man has returned. Now, I told you that the cat was not the biggest fan of our show, so they've decided to knock him out and brought him back. So, Jace, let me just finish talking about Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Made in the mid-90s, what a stellar cast we had. We had Terence Stamp in the main role. We had Guy Pearce. And, of course, we had Agent Smith himself, Hugo Weaving. It's a sweet comedy. It's a road movie. It's a movie about coming to acceptance. It's definitely a movie about diversity, set in the most unusual environments, outback Australia. It made a star of Guy Pearce. From this, Guy Pearce went on to films like LA Confidential, Memento, and things like that. It was great to see Terence Stamp put up one of his performances of his career, as far as I'm concerned. And Hugo Weaving just being just delightful. And they all had different journeys to go on, I mean, Guy Pearce is pretty much trying to find humility and, finding acceptance. Hugo Weaving, the relationship with his kids was very sweet. And Terence Stamp, who been around the track, has been trans in a time where it would have been very, very difficult to be trans back there, and held herself with grace and style and humour. This film is a must-watch. If you haven't seen it, it is easily... It's got to be in the top 5 for me, greatest Australian films ever made, and that's saying something. Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, Jace, you've seen it, mate. What did you think of this?
It has been a very long time since I've seen it, but I remember just absolutely loving it. And it was something different than what I thought it was going to be. Because I'll be honest, whenever I rented it all those years ago, I thought it was Tu Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar. Right. I grabbed the wrong I grabbed the wrong trans road trip movie.
Well, you do know that is literally a rip-off of, because it was made 2 years after Priscilla.
Yeah.
It was an American remake.
I watched them both. I watched this one first, and I really loved it. And then I watched the second one. I was like, "This is the same movie."
It's just the same, and it's a rip-off. But it's beautiful too, because you have all this gaudy kind of, real kind of clothing backdrop against the outback Australia. So to me, the cinematography wins hands out here too, just the way. And that scene of the bus chase when he's on top of the bus.
Yeah, that's iconic.
It's yeah. No, one of the great things. And you know what? In Australia, this film, and I think this is where I'm a proud Australian, overall acceptance. No flashback. Everybody, doesn't matter if you're a trucker, doesn't matter if you're a dentist, doesn't matter who you are, where you came from, what even your politics are. This movie was widely loved by everyone. And it was one of the prouder moments to be part of Australian culture, where we're like just accepting of what the movie was, the characters involved. It's a big win. Got to check out Priscilla, Queen of the Desert if you haven't seen it.
Indeed. Great movie. Okay, so what was I talking about before?
We were. I had set you up before the cat decided to give his review on our show. And that was, you were going to talk about the adventures of Mark Twain.
Yes. And I know what everybody's thinking right now, but Jason, I thought that you were doing like horror movies this month because it is spooky season. Well, I think that's one reason.
Some of the right might think Priscilla's a horror movie.
Oh, yeah, I hope they do. I hope this scared the pee out of them.
Yes.
But yeah, I think that's one
Sorry.
reason why Battle Cat decided to cut the feed, because she knows what I'm about to talk about. This movie is by Will Vinton, and he was the creator of the California Raisins, which was a very popular commercial in the early to mid '80s. And this is all about Mark Twain creating an airship to chase down Halley's Comet. And he decides to bring Huck Finn, Becky Thatcher, and Tom Sawyer with him. And while they are chasing down the comet, they revisit some of Mark Twain's greatest stories, like the Jumping Frog of Callahan County and The Mysterious Stranger, which was a segment of this movie that was only about 5 or 6 minutes long, and it traumatized children everywhere. In this segment, you meet this strange person who does not have a head. They have a mask, and the mask talks for them. It's just got a face on the mask. And they ask who he is. And I say they because this voice is genderless. You can't really tell if it's a man or a woman. And they say, "I'm an angel." "Really? What's your name?" "Satan." Yeah, they decide to hang out with Satan for this segment. Satan welcomes them with open arms, gives them their favorite foods. There's no evil intent here from this creature until they build sandcastles, and Satan gives life to these little men inside the sandcastles, and then visits horrific disasters upon them for his own amusement. And this segment is horrifying. It's scary. And for many children who were not exposed to scary movies whenever they were younger, this was their first taste of horror, and such a delectable taste as well. So much about this segment is just deliciously disturbing. I honestly do not know how they managed to put this into this movie. This is the strangest thing. And the whole movie is forgettable except for this one segment. Everyone who ever saw The Adventures of Mark Twain, they cannot tell you anything about this movie except for The Mysterious Stranger. That's the part that stuck with everybody. It is free on YouTube if you know where to look. That whole segment there, the rest of the movie, it's great. It's fine. I really enjoyed it, but that's the one you want to watch if you're looking for something spooky for spooky season.
Yeah, look, I watched that segment, and yeah, very disturbing. Not as, I would say that raisin commercial is a little bit disturbing too, if I could say that.
There is something disturbing about a group of singers who are encouraging their fans to eat their own kind.
Yeah, it's something a bit off about that. But yeah, what I saw, it looked beautifully animated, but look, I'm a big believer in dealing with dark themes in children's story. We've been doing this for centuries. Nursery rhymes are generally some of the most darkest subject matter. Nursery rhymes, fairy tales, all that. There's always been a long tradition of having dark elements. And the fact that they're bold enough to deal with Satan and the way they did it, man, that's very impressive. Very impressive.
I'm going to just say the most controversial thing ever said today. I honestly think that this short 7-minute segment presents the most chilling depiction of Satan ever presented in modern media.
Yeah.
Because just the design and the voice and just the way that the character is handled, you get this, you could see this character tempting somebody.
That's where it works. I think that's where the segment is so great, though, Jason, because what's the traditional? Oh, we're expecting to see people up in chains, gutted, fire, brimstone, and all that. But he delves into real horror. To be giving something and then it to be taken away. She's
trying to cut the feed again.
Yeah, she's trying to cut the feed. All right, we're going to move on from Mark Twain, all right? We're going to move on. She's not happy today. She's not happy.
She is not. She's a little sourpuss.
All right, let's have a look at some of the messages, some more chats we got here. I love Guy Pearce.
He's great.
Absolutely.
I love the guy.
Is Guy Pearce Australian, really, Nita? Really? Yes. He's amazing. Therefore, he's Australian. He was actually on a very famous soap opera here for years before he actually hit it big in Hollywood called Neighbours. And that's where I knew him from.
I'm familiar with Neighbours.
Yeah, Neighbours actually ended for a little period. He came back to do a couple of episodes of Neighbours. That's how awesome Guy Pearce is. Like, I don't care, I'll come back and do the soap opera for a couple of episodes. So the show got cancelled after 30-something years, and then somebody else bought it a couple of months later, so now it's back. But anyway, Guy Pearce is amazing. Yeah, that's about it, Jace. I think we're going to wrap it up now, mate. And before we wrap it up, we've got to plug a few extra things coming up. Tomorrow night, guys, if you liked what Jason said or didn't like what Jason said about Lower Decks, you're going to get a far more long-format conversation about that show with the new episode tomorrow night on the new revamped Captain's Quadrant. Wow. That guy who designs that, he sure is talented.
Yes.
All right, the next thing, if you want to see me drone on about Hollywood and the current state of play at the moment, because it is a fascinating time in the industry because we are going through monumental change, you can check me and my good friend out on Pop Culture Spread, moving and streaming news. On Pop Culture Spread, we drop that every Saturday morning Australian time, so Friday night American time. And of course, one of our great followers who watches every show we do, of course, is Nita. She's got her own podcast. It's really cool. Sci-Fi Queens. Check that out. I do believe they got a next show coming up, and they're reviewing... Oh, Nita will kill me for this. I can't remember the name. I think it's Fire Maidens from Outer Space. They're reviewing a classic 50s film. So check that out as well. And that's it, Jace. What, Battlecat? Did we make it through the episode okay, Battlecat? Yeah, no comment. No comment. It was being used.
Still angry.
There we are. Now, guys, we will be back next week to talk about more TV shows. Check us out then. And until next time, we'll catch you guys later, all right? Am I missing something, Jace, or was that it? I think that's it.
I think that's
we're out of here. We're out of here.
Yeah. So we really got to think of a better way to end this show.
Yeah, we do. We're bloody horrible with that.
I know. It's just droning on and on. Just
I can't believe it.
We just got to say bye and then get out. I don't know.